would request Dr. Ashwini Bhallaji. Dr. Ashwini Bhallaji is a professor in postgraduate Department of Commerce and Business Innovation and Research, SCD Government College, Ludhiana, Punjab University. He is a secretary, Faculty of Business Management and Commerce, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Dr. Ashwini Bhalla is President, Punjab Commerce and Management Association. He is member research board in Commerce, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He is program coordinator, postgraduate Department of Business Innovations and Research, SCD Government College, Ludhiana. He is member undergraduate, postgraduate board of Commerce, Punjab University, secretary internal. And if I start reading Dr. Ashwini Bhalla's resume, this goes around for 10 pages, and I need a lot of time, sir. I'll take this liberty, like skipping all those, because I know like you need not to you don't need any introduction. Most
Thank
of the
you.
participants they are there, and I would like to invite you on Bathinda Management Association. Over to Dr. Ashwini Bhalla, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vikas, and most respected Dr. A.K. Bakshi, Vice Chancellor of PDM University, Bahadurgarh. Dr. Jaideep Nair, President of Bathinda Management Association, Mr. Pramod Mittalji, Mr. Vicky Singalji, Mr. Vikas, and the all members of the Bathinda Management Association. I congratulate Bathinda Management Association for initiating a talk in their city and in their district regarding the implementation of the national policy of education. I would not say it a new policy of education or new education policy, because it has taken so many things which were in earlier policies also. Because basically this is concerned with the upliftment of our society and its different organs. And we have got this policy after 34 years and 6 years of rigorous exercise which has been taken by the second part of this government. So as Dr. Bakshi has rightly said that basically the implementation will depend upon the core factor, that is the teacher. And as far as the teachers are concerned, teachers are the product of the old policies. How will we able to implement in present juncture in a right manner, and how these things will be possible? He has highlighted so many issues. I will be skipping those issues which has been highlighted by Dr. Bakshi, so that we can move ahead to discuss the another issues which are related. My focus will be on the societal view of the national education policy, because basically the basic purpose of implementing this policy is regarding the upliftment of the society. If we look at the concept of Indian society, there are thousands of communities living in India, including all major religions of the world, and they speak different languages and dialects. They have their own food habits, professions, industries, handicrafts, traditions, and cultural aspects. And Indian society, being multilingual and multicultural nation, had a bundle of contradictions held together by a strong but invisible threads. In spite of having multilingual and multicultural, we have the invisible thread which is binding us, all of us together. That's why our country is running these days. So we must foresee this kind of invisible thread in the future also. So we need an education policy which can bind us forever. So in fact, India is a nation in which we find unity in diversity. People from different caste and creed, religion and region, beliefs and assumptions live together very happily. And in spite of repeated foreign invasions and enormous growth in the population, Indian has professed a remarkable personality. So the era of globalization and democracy of the 21st century are adding new features to the Indian society. So as far as Indian society is concerned, it has diverse educational needs. The role of education system in the preservation of the society and the culture, particularly it is very important in complex societies where families and other primary groups are not fully equipped to prepare the young for adulthood that is expected by a larger society. So education is concerned with all people and considered as a basic social need of all the societies. So the major challenge currently being faced by education in India is, first we have to achieve the unfinished task to the citizens. Secondly, we have to focus on our cultural nationalism and nation building. And thirdly, we have to cope up with the modern requirements of the formal education. So education is the base to measure the quality of any society. So relevant education policy is the key to unlock the future of the young generation. So it is very much important. On the one hand, we have to enrich our young generation with the modern technology. On the other hand, we have to bring in and respect our cultural values and the traditions which we are having from the thousands of years in India. So education is a powerful tool, as already said by Dr. Bakshi also, that with education you can do all these things. So if we look at the education philosophy of Indian culture, it is affected by so many people, and every religion has respected the education system, and every religion has talked about that to enrich our society, to develop our society, education is the foremost need. If we talk about Prophet Muhammad said that Allah has asked human being to study and acquire knowledge and make a good use of pen, because without these, man can never understand Allah and his creation properly. So if you want to understand the creation of the God, if you want to understand the humanity at all, you have to acquire knowledge and make good use of the pen. Similarly, because we are living in the Punjab, and Punjab is a place where all Vedas were prescribed, they were written here. So we are living on the land of Guru Nanak. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, a great philosopher of this world, has already said that in his writings in Japuji Sahib, Asa Diwar and Onkar, and according to the Guru Nanak, true education should enable a man to attain self-realization. He says emphatically that a very educated man is one who enlightens his mind with divine knowledge and realizes himself. He has emphasized this idea again and again. Similarly, the Swami Vivekananda said education should aim at bringing out the excellence in man. In other words, education should aim at bringing out the human excellence. Generally, it shows that education in the real sense of the term should be man-making, character molding, and life building. Similarly, Aurobindo Ghosh said that the development of latent powers of the child, training of the six senses, training of the logical faculties, physical education, principle of freedom, moral and religious education, and above all, training for the spiritualization of the individual is needed to safeguard the cultural invasion from any nation. So Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore urged the students to explore intellectual self-reliance and freedom. He believed that true freedom in the acquisition of knowledge and experience could not be gained by possessing other people's ideas, but by forming one's own standard of judgment and producing one's own thought. So education must be that education will be relevant, which tells you how to produce your own thoughts and how to focus and form own standards. So this is the education philosophy of various scholars which has described the earlier education policies also. So as far as this new education policy is concerned, it has certain acceptances in the document of 65 pages. It has accepted that world is undergoing rapid changes in the knowledge and landscape, and various dramatic scientific and technological advances such as the rise of the big data, machine learning and artificial intelligence, many unskilled jobs may be taken over by the machines. So if we do not develop our education system, which include the more holistic and multidisciplinary education system, and if we do not include the STEM, that is science, technology, engineering and mathematics, to create positive learning outcomes, we will be facing with the huge amount of unemployment in our country. So this is the focus and acceptance of this national education policy. This policy has accepted that there is a need for a skilled workforce, particularly involving mathematics, computer science, and data science, in conjunction with the multidisciplinary abilities across the sciences, social sciences, and humanities will be in demand. So therefore, we must focus on all these things while doing these things in future. So this policy has accepted new challenges and focus. Challenges, this has accepted that there is in future we are going to have a challenge of the climate change. Increasing population will be there, depleting natural resources. We have to meet the world's energy, water, food, and sanitation needs. And this will require new skilled labor, particularly in biology, chemistry, physics, agriculture, climate science, and social science. And there will be an emergence of epidemics and pandemics, which will require collaborative research in infectious disease management and development of the vaccines. And the resultant social issues highlighted the need for the multidisciplinary learning. So this also needs a critical and innovative thoughts. So we have to incorporate basic arts, crafts, humanities, games, sports, and fitness, language, literature, and culture in our curriculum. So all these things are needed for our future education policy. And this education policy has focused on all these things. So this is the first education policy of the 21st century. And I will say that this is not a new education policy, because this has been prepared with a nationalistic approach. And the focus is revision and revamping of all the aspects of the education structure. So that may be in the field of regulation and governance, that may be creation of a new system aligned with the inspirational goals of 21st century education, including sustainable development goal 4 of the global education development agenda, which was adopted by India in 2005, and it is emphasizing on the development of the creative potential of each and every individual. The focus of this policy is on development not only cognitive capacities but the fundamental capacities of the literacy and numeracy and higher order cognitive capacities such as critical thinking and problem solving. But also it has taken care of social, ethical, and emotional capacities and dispositions. The key principles of this policy, as highlighted in the various points as stated in the policy, are respect for diversity and local context, because India is a land where there is a diversity of cultural aspects, diversity of local needs. So in all curriculum which is prescribed and which is going to be implemented, which will be made with the help of various agencies, that means we will be focusing on curriculum, pedagogy, and policy. The focus will be on equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all educational decisions. There will be community participation, that means NGOs, encouragement and facilitation for philanthropic, private, and community participation. Technology, as Dr. Bakshi has already stated, that the use of technology in teaching and learning, removing language barriers and giving equal opportunities to the Divyang students, which are prescribed in this policy as a gifted students in educational planning and management. Similarly, it is emphasizing on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning and learning focus for exams. Because the present system, we are producing rote learners. The people study in the whole semester, then vomit in the examination, but when they go out of the educational institutions, they do not find any path. And if fortunately they find a path, they don't have the confidence to move on that path. So therefore, emphasis is on total conceptual understanding and a unique focus on unique capabilities, recognizing, identifying them in each and every student, and then taking care of how to develop this unique capabilities as enshrined in its teachings of Swami Vivekananda. So there will be a critical thinking and creativity to encourage logical decision making and innovation. And it is not there that we make the students admitted in the educational institutions. but we will be having a continuous review based on the sustained research and regular assessment by the educational experts. And for this, the role of the various bodies has been defined. So as Dr. Bakshi has already stated, that we'll be having 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 years of education system. But here I will not be repeating all these, but I will be focusing here that at the two stages, which is the foundational stage, which will start at the age of 3 years and will continues at the age of 5 years. So Anganwadi's role, the preschool role, and the Bal Vatika role, which will be from 3 to 6 years, and then 2 years in the foundational mode, that is up to age of 8 years, the students will be developed by way of play, discovery, and activity based and interactive classroom teaching. And in the fundamental stage, that is when a student is admitted at the age of 3 years, the 2 years 3 years which they will be spending here, they will be involved in multi-level play activity based learning. And here a lot of research is going to be done, and agencies will be prescribing the particular syllabus. Then after that, after age year 8 year, we will be having 3 years up, yani from the class 3 to class 5, yani that means age of 8 to 11, middle stage, which will be based on experiential learning in the science, mathematics, art, social sciences, and humanities. And even at the age of 9 to 12, class 9 to 12, that is from the age of 14 to 18, secondary level, there will be a multi-disciplinary study, greater critical thinking and flexibility, and the choice of student. The bottlenecks which is present there, that is art, science, and commerce, they will be removed, and the students will be free to select the cafeteria of the courses from the buffet which will be provided to them, and according to they can have the choice of the subjects. If a student want to study physics and accountancy together along with the music, they will be allowed to study, because ultimately the student has to develop in the various areas of study and make their career. So choice is given to them in this new state. But earlier in the 10+2 system, there were so many bottlenecks. This is a new change, which is a transformation of curricular and pedagogical structure. The major reforms in school education are universalization of early childhood care education. As I have already stated, in the foundation stage and primary stage, lot of changes have been prescribed, and the focus is on the development of the brain of the student by involving so many things in the focus. So emphasis will be on foundational literacy and numeracy. The 10+2 system will be replaced, and curriculum will be integrated according to the requirements of the 21st century skills, and mathematical thinking and scientific temper will be there. As I have already said, that no rigid separation between academic stream, extracurricular activity, vocational streams in the school, etc. And support for the gifted students, they will be studying along with the normal students, and the students with special talent has been there. This focus is on this. And general gender inclusion fund will be there. Curriculum is going to reduce and focus on core concepts only, and vocational education will start from the class 6. So there will be assessment reforms with 360-degree holistic progress card, tracking students' progress for achieving learning outcomes. So these are the major school educational reforms. Apart from that, the new system will have 12 years of schooling with 3 years of Anganwadi, as I had already stated. National textbooks with local talent and flavor will be developed, and teaching up to the age of 5 to be in mother tongue and regional language. And as many people are apprehending that they will be posing any particular language on that, the language, there will be no imposition of any language on the students, but they have to, up to the age of 5, they have to study in the mother tongue or regional language according to his choice. So transformation of assessment for the student development, more regular and formative, more competency based, promote learning and development of our students, and test higher order skills such as analysis, critical thinking, conceptual clarity will be there. And it is proposed to set up a national assessment center, which is known as PARAK. That means performance assessment, review, and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. It's a new development which is going to be there. So similarly, a new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education, as Dr. Bakshi has highlighted in the beginning of his lecture, that because our teachers are modeled on the previous model of the education policy, and this new education policy requires so many new things to be implemented, and the government has comprehensively focused on developing of the teacher education National Curriculum Framework NCFTE 2021, which will be formulated by in consultation with the NCT and NCERT. And by the 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed program. So if you have earlier done the B.Ed program, it will be 2030, it will be there, because by that time the people will be adjusted. But after 2030, the 4-year integrated B.Ed degree program will be there, which will be focusing on developing on the new teachers according to the new models requirement. So similarly, this policy is focusing on early childhood education learning in the formative years. So developing curiosity, logical thinking and problem solving, arts, crafts and music. So we will be having no bag days in the students. Then students will not be going with the bag, but they will be asked to focus on the arts, crafts and music. Relationship with the nature. Till now, we have disconnected from the nature. We are in the pandemic situation because the human being has understood that he is a master of the universe, because he do not have direct connect with the nature. We are disconnected from the nature. That's why we are in the problem. So connecting the students with the nature will be the focus of this policy. Colors, shapes, alphabets and numbers, these all will be in the foundational states. Teamwork and collaboration will be taught. Play-based and discovery-based learning, ethics, self-identity, etiquette, behavior, and emotional development, all this will be the part of the new education policy. So as Dr. Bakshi has already covered this, that we will be having ensuring universal access to education at all levels, whether at the school education level or at the college education level, multiple pathways to learning involving both formal and informal educational models or modes, building schools, promoting both government and non-government philanthropic organization to build schools. So we will be involving the private participation also, but the mission should be to grow education according to the modern requirement. Learning outcome focus will be on achieving desired learning outcome at all levels, bringing back dropouts. Now we have a problem of a big dropout at the school level up to the age of 5, then up to the class 10, and in after 10 we have just if we move to the higher education, our gross enrollment ratio is just 26.3%, which we want to improve by to the 50% by 2035. So alternative centers, alternative and innovative education centers will be developed. So peer tutoring suitable for all categories, business and personal presentation. So this will be the focus of the new education policy. The focus will be on the reduction in the curriculum. We have to reduce the weight of the bag. So focus will be on core essentials, critical thinking, interactive classes, experiential learning, which will involve fun, creative, collaborative and exploratory activities in the classroom for experiential learning and deeper student learning. So all these things will be brought in our education system with the help of the various agencies. Then innovative pedagogy, transforming teaching learning process. All these things already been discussed: experiential learning, integrated pedagogy. So as Dr. Bakshi has already said, so there will be no separation of curricular and extracurricular activities. All this will become a part of the education system, which will be evaluated along with the formal system of education. Till now, arts, sports, storytelling, all these are the just ignored part. So it will become a part of the focus of our education system. So I think with the implementation of this, this is going to have a sea change in our education system. Text with local content and flavor. Now we are reading the examples of the foreigners. We are reading the examples of the other states people in our textbooks. So the focus will be to give importance to the local content and local flavor in our textbook, so that students can learn in their own language, in their own culture, in their own system of education, and respecting the other cultures also. So all textbooks to contain only essential core material while capturing any desired nuances and supplementary material as per the local context and needs. And it will be ensured that affordable, high quality and energized textbooks to be provided along with the free digital version on the Diksha platform of the Government of India, Department of Higher Education. States to prepare their own curricula and textbooks. It is not that we are going to impose on the states any kind of curriculum or textbooks. They will be free to frame their own curricula. NCERT curriculum and textbooks incorporating states flavor and material as needed will be done. And this will be a concerted access, because education is in the concurrent list of the Union of India. So therefore concerted efforts through suitable changes in the curriculum, pedagogy, and significantly reducing the weight of the school bags and textbooks along with the states will be done. So the focus will be on mental and physical health and well-being of the people. Regular health check of the students will be done. Till now we don't have any kind of this system. If there is some system that is not implemented, so annual health check for all students, reduce weight of the school bags, hiring counselor in the school campuses. They will be permanently appointed, focus on children with disability and inclusive and caring culture at school. The role and expectation of the principals and teachers will be explicitly include developing a caring and inclusive culture at school. This has been promised, and a visionary look has been given to this aspect in the policy. And similarly, we have certain major reforms in the higher education also, as Dr. Bakshi has already stated, that the gross enrollment ratio in higher education will be improved by 2035 to 50%. Holistic multidisciplinary education, and the more focus is multiple entry and exit points, as Dr. Bakshi was stating that how the states will be implementing it. Dr. Bakshi, because you also know, in Punjab also the process has already been started. The Vice Chancellor's meeting has already been had. The Department of Higher Education is working very hard to implement all these UG program of 3 or 4 years, PG program of 1 or 2 year, and integrated 5 years.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry to intervene, sir.
I'm just going to conclude.
Thank you.
So one aspect Dr. Bakshi talked about, academic bank of credit. This is going to be a national academic bank of credit. So as far as between the universities, there will be no need to sign any MOU. When there will be a national academic bank of credit, the UGC or the higher bodies, the higher the system, higher education Commission of India, they will be taking care of it. Every student will be given a bank credit, this academic bank credit, and wherever he moves. Now present position is, if a student want to shift from Guru Nanak Dev University to Punjab University or Punjabi University, he is given deficient subject that you have to pass this if you want to do complete your degree from here. So such kind of bottlenecks will be improved and removed. So I think with the introduction of so much changes, major reforms, we look for a very visionary approach for higher education. And from my point of view, it's my personal view, somebody may differ from it. I rate this 65-page document, keeping in all cultural and religion and as well as spiritual aspects of this country into mind. This document of 65 pages is not less than the Gita, I would like to say, but the focus is again on us, how we look into it. If we want to start looking into from the negative point of view, we will not be able to achieve anything. Let's have a positive outcome of it. Let's have positive approach toward this policy. India will grow, and definitely this 6 years of rigorous exercise, the document which we have got after 34 years of last next national education policy will definitely deliver good results. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for your powerful thoughts. I know, like, you have ample of material and you can speak on and on till evening, but due to time constraints, sir, I had to intervene. Thanks for giving your very optimistic and positive outlook on this national education policy. And like, I'm in full agreement with you, sir. Because I have been listening few days back to Mr. Shiv Kumar, his group president, Birla Group. So like a lot of people had concern, like what will happen to the jobs by, because a lot of the jobs will be taken by artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all those things. So what will happen to our youth? Why? Because they are being developed under a rote learning system and they lack creativity. And if we are not creative, the future does not belong to us. So the Shiv Kumar, he replied very nicely. He says, the jobs are not going to go away. Jobs are going to stay there, but only the jobs which we are used to do, like run of the mill jobs, the mundane jobs, they will go away. Like, you have to be creative. You need to be out of the box. You need to be like more analytical if you wish to work in the future. And I think this policy is a right direction, a right step in that direction. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your valuable time. Look forward to listen more to you from in future sessions also. Thank you very much. Now, because we have a time constraint, question and answer session, I think there are a lot of questions which are in the chat box. I'll request our participants, they can send us through WhatsApp or mail. We can forward it to the experts for their opinion. Meanwhile, like, I can take up 2 or 3 questions. Sir, Mr. Soni Goyal, our executive member, he wanted to ask one question. Sir, are you there? You have a question like for Mr. Bakshi or Mr.
My question is, at current level, though this policy talks about the universalization of education, the same thing has been mentioned in our first 5-year plan. And after 70 years of those first 5-year plan, we are at 74% of literacy rate, which means 26% of the people of country are illiterate. And with such a loose definition of what a literacy is, whom we classify as a literate, we leave that apart. So which amounts to, if we talk about 130 crore and 26% comes out around 34 crore people, which is more than entire population of United States of America. So where are we heading? We are talking about these cosmetic changes through this. Are we really thinking in next 10 years we will be able to at least achieve universalization of education? And attached question is, do technology, have really a big role to play?
Mr. Soni, you have very rightly pointed out that in the first 5-year plan also we promised the universalization of the education. So anything you plan, you need a commitment and you need a sincerity to implement it. If our politicians intervene and they thought that we must not allow our population to be educated so that they can become their vote banks in the future also, this is not going to happen. This is not going to give any kind of results. But as I am looking after this policy which has been designed, I was a part of it in some manner, because as a nodal officer of the district Ludhiana, we even taken the suggestions of the village panchayat also to have their suggestions so that what can be incorporated in the policy. So this government has not prepared this policy on their own. It is for the first time in the history of India that the common person from the lower level of the strata has also been involved in the formation of this policy. So with this view, this government has a mandate also. Many people are saying that they are imposing this policy. They were having this policy in their election document also. They gone with this election document to the people of the country. If some people are saying that they are not going to implement and we will not allow to implement it, they are having a mandate of it. This policy document has been prepared around with the consultation of around 45 many other organizations which are in the non-governmental organizations. And the approach is crystal clear. If the 6 year has been taken up, in the coming parliament session, which we are getting the news, many new laws to implement this policy are going to be brought out by the Ministry of Education, which was earlier Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. So I think, as I have already said, we have to look positive with positivity from point of view. If we say that earlier it was not done, this time this will not be done, there's a lot of different, now lot of awareness is there. Technologically we are very much enriched. As you looking out these days, we are in the COVID situation and our educational institutions are closed, but our education department is forced to implement technological issues, and they are making sure that our students should not suffer out of this. This is going to happen, but the approach from all stakeholder point of view is very much required. And all of us are now aware today. With the rigorous zeal we are coming it out, and I hope, I am very much positive out of it. I don't say that 100% we will be able to implement it, because so many constraints are there. If government stick to a 6% GDP allocation of funds to this sector, if they are going to do this only, other things will be taken care of automatically by all other stakeholders. Teachers are a very important role. All of you, you are a part of the society, your organization, Bathinda Management Association, Punjab Commerce and Management, as all of us has to work together to force the government to implement it. Otherwise, we will not be able to do it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think due to paucity of time, we can take one question. I think our president, Mr. Jaideep, has one question. Mr. Vicky Singhal, you have, sir, another question? Would you like to ask?
Yes,
So we can take two questions, one by Mr. Jaideep Nayarji, then Mr. Vicky Singhal. And sir, before you ask questions, sir, I am delighted that we have with us Mr. Chibad, Honorary Secretary from Bhopal Management Association. Then we have a lot of participants from Mumbai, Chennai, and other parts of the Punjab and India. We welcome you all, sir. We are sorry we missed you on the platform, in the earlier part. Thank you very much for joining us. Now I would request our President, Mr. Jaideep Nair, to have his question, please.
Yeah, because of the shortage of time, I'll just ask one question. Since it has been said that in the initial stages, that for the first 5 years, the teaching will be in the regional language. So, these days, and on the other stage, we are saying that this particular time is the one which is the most learning part for the child. That is the time when you can build up anything in the child.
Right.
So many children, because there's a trend that I want to admit my child into an English medium school. And with the English being international language, don't you think, putting up English at a later stage, the students will find it difficult to pick it up, one. And the other thing, same related to that aspect, is that the parents have a concern that that the child, they going into an English medium school and then taking up the regional things, understanding of those things at a later stage. How is it possible?
Yes. I think Mr. Nair has raised a very right concern about it, that whether we are going to ignore the English language as, because it is an international language and our student has to move internationally also in business. It is an international business language also. But if you read the whole document, it is not saying that we should not teach English at the age of 5, or we should ignore at the foundational stage or at the primary level. They are just saying that as far as possible, the language at the foundation stage or at the primary stage should be in the regional language or the local language. And sir, many researches has been done in this field. Many researches has been done, because the values which are required for the human being can be taught in the mother language also. Because all of us are sitting here, whatever values we are imbibed in, that we have learned from our mother, and our mother has not taught us values in the English language. They have taught in their own language or in the regional language. So therefore the focus is on that. But we are not barring the educational institutions that they should not teach English language. The learning in the English language will be there, but the majority of the subjects which are regarding their society, which are regarding their values, humanities and science, you can teach them in the subjects of in the language of English. So there is not a hard. Secondly, as Dr. Bakshi has said, that the timeline is there. This policy has clearly listed the timeline for implementation of the early childhood education and a new assessment pattern. So this is not going to be implemented immediately. The right for phase 1 will start from the 21-22. Till now, till then, we will have a new curriculum and assessment procedures, and we will incorporate the other languages also. English will not be ignored at all. So I think if you read the whole document, nowhere it is written that we are not going to give the dose of English language to our students. You are free to learn that. You can incorporate in it. But as far as the early childhood education, various subjects which give the values, which promote art, which promote culture, they should be taught in the mother tongue or the regional language. This is one concern. And the timeline has been given. Slowly, scientifically we will be moving. You look at the China, you look at the Russia, you look at many other countries, they are not giving their total education up to the school level in the English language. They are doing it in their own languages. So we will be bringing scientific knowledge in our mother tongue, in other regional language, so that we can equip our students rightly. This is not going to be there that if you don't adopt only English language, then our students will suffer and they will become backward. No, not at all. Scientifically, you have to develop your own languages also. And our own languages are also rich, but it is a phobia which has been given by the English people when they were there till 1947. कि उन्होंने हमारे यहाँ ये कर दिया, इसलिए we are not out of that phobia, and slowly we will be moving out of that. This is my view. You may differ accordingly.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Vicky Singhal.
Yes.
Is there any question, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I will ask the question.
This is the last question we are taking. Then
Okay,
I'll request Mr. Satyan from Patiala Management Association. Yes,
Professor Bhalla, is this policy is clear about how the government, academia and industry will collaborate for development of content? Because if we talk about this is you say assessment based curriculum we are going to develop. I don't think only the teaching faculty is going to be able to develop those curriculums or the assessment modules without the active participation of the industry where the child is going to be consumed.
Absolutely,
it is not possible. So it is silent on national education policy.
It is not silent on this issue, sir. There has been ample emphasis has been given in school education also and in higher education also regarding the industry institute interface. And if you are if you look at it, it is going to have a national committee for integration of the vocational education, in which the many of the people from the industry will be the board members. Every institute will be having a industry institute interface cell. Every university is going to have industry institute interface cell, and the members in the board of studies, in the faculties of different subjects, they will be taken from this aspect. They will be taken from the industry people. So therefore, I think this document of 65 pages has given ample importance to the industry people also. And let me share with you that in the state of Punjab, already the government of Punjab and the chairmanship of the Secretary Higher Education, they have taken note of it. Lot of discussions has been taken in the Vice Chancellor's meeting, and the Punjab Commerce and Management Association was part of it, because we are a mix of blend of industry and academia, and we have been consulted, we have been invited, we have been given to prepare a note for how we can involve industry people in the curriculum. So various subjects in the management field, in the engineering field, they will be inputs will be taken from that, and it has also been decided that the curriculum will be vetted through the industry association like Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FICCI is there, Ludhiana Management Association is there, All India Management of Association is there. So they are going to be part of the curriculum design. So I don't think there will be any bottleneck, but how this will be implemented, how industry react to it. Sir, we have an experience, and I have a grudge against the industry also. In University Business School of different universities, the industry people are made board of studies members, but they rarely come to it. The fault may be on the part of the universities because they are not in a position to convince them. So there are number of portals has been developed by the government also. They are thinking on these lines. I think without industry consultation, designing the courses, because ultimately industry is the taker of the students. If they are not, we are not going to consult them, this will not happen. This policy is focusing on, and the national skills qualification framework, which is prepared by the government of India for each discipline, vocation and profession, that is totally prepared with the consultation of industry. If you ask the SOCHM people, if you ask the FICCI people, you may be getting this kind of input that they are rightly consulted for that. So this is going to be happen, and this the document speaks a lot about this. So I think we should circulate this document in all our to all our association members. So I will request Vikasdeep to circulate the policy of 65 pages to all the people.
Sure,
so
sir.
that
Sure,
we can
sir.
get it.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you very much. I think we have a lot of questions, lot of queries, anxieties, but due to time constraint, we'll not be able to take all of them. Dr. A.K. Bakshi, I just got a phone call from him. He had another appointment at 12:15. He has to speak on some other forum, so he has to move. So like he was not in a position to take our questions, but he has conveyed his like feelings. He says like in case if there are any queries specific to Dr. Bakshi, you can always send in through mail or WhatsApp, or maybe like you can direct it through us so that we can forward it to Mr. Bakshi. Now, like I'll request Mr. Satyen Sharma, who is like our always lovable partner from Patiala Management Association, who keeps us motivated, and he's like whenever we are hosting our programs, like he's the first one to like join with us. So I'll request Mr. Satyen Sharma to say a few words from Patiala Management Association. Mr. Satyen Sharma, over to you, sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vikasdeep. Very kind of you for again inviting Patiala Management Association, and I also see Bhopal Management Association to participate in this event. And that makes it more gratifying for everybody, you know, both for the speakers as well as for the participants to be part of such a great collaborative effort. And this particular topic today, I think, was never more important than these times, you know, education, when we are already being forced to reinvent and disrupt our concept of education. This COVID phase also unfortunately saw the death of Dr. Ken Robinson, who is credited with one of the most watched TED Talk on education, you know, and how he talks about how schools have been systematically killing creativity. We lost him to COVID, and I think this is a great time for all of us to again revisit the concept of education, how we understand it. Both the speakers today, Dr. A.K. Bakshi and Dr. Ashwini Bhalla, have done a lot of justice to the topic and in trying to explain all the concepts and in clarifying how these concepts were you know, agreed upon and reached, and all the very best in the implementation of these. And thank you again, Bathinda Management Association, Advocate Jaideep Nair, Dr. Vikasdeep, for having us on board. It was a great learning experience. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I'll request Mr. Vikas Garg to propose formally vote of thanks. Mr. Vikas Garg, please. Mr. Vikas Garg, please unmute yourself, sir. Yes, yes, now please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. With the inclusion of this National Education Policy Vision document, we were all curious to know about the changes which is going to come in our education system. And we are really thankful to both our eminent speakers, Dr. A.K. Bakshi and Dr. Ashwini Bhalla, for giving us insight about the changes and the transformation which are going to happen. We are quite hopeful that it will be done in a positive note. And the bigger question would definitely that how it will be implemented. My special thanks to Dr. Satyan Sharma from Patiala Management Association, Dr. N.K. Chibbar from Bhopal Management Association, Dr. Shankar Das from Gwalior Management Association, Dr. Uma Bhaskar from Chennai, other participants from Bombay who have joined this session, and also all the BMA members. Last but not least, I am thankful to BMA for giving this platform wherein we can have a discussion about the policy changes which is happening in our country. And a gentle reminder which our president has already conveyed, that IMA is organizing National Management Convention on 20th and 21st of September, and we request all the members to kindly join this that session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I would request our president to formally grant us permission to close this meeting formally, sir. Thank you all the speakers. Thank you everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would just like to correct. I think Vikas stated the dates for
Yes.
National Management Convention is 20th and 21st. It is 21st and 22nd.
21st and 22nd, right, sir?
So I would request all the
Sorry.
members of Patiala Management Association and Patiala Management Association, and of course from Bhopal and Gwalior and other places, to definitely join this convention, which is being organized by IMA, and get opportunity of listening to the various speakers of the national fame. So thank you very much once again, everyone, for being a part of it. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Thank you, Professor Praveen, Dr. Neeru, and thank you, Mrs. Nagpal. Lot of thanks, and many people whose name I could not take. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Can we close the meeting, sir?
Yeah, we can close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.